Alright, so the first thing to do is to take off the negative side of the battery terminals with a 10mm bolt. Right, so next up is to be removing this ground wire, which is a 12mm and two 14, so here and here. So don't remove this unless you want to bleed out your clutch. So, you don't really want to do that now unless you're planning to, but that's the actuator for your shifter, and you can see my clutch fork is connected to that, so remove that. I'll probably zip tie it here so that doesn't get caught anywhere, and these two wires as well. So these are just simple, should be, hopefully. I'm gonna get to that, give you guys an update. Alright, so after those are done, you see I just set them up right there, as well as the wires right over here. The starter does need to come off. There's behind this, there's a rubber boot, so just move that over. It's a 12mm bolt. Do not take this one off, but do take off the one on that side right over here. So once that's off, there's also a connection here that looks like this right here, and it's a simple, not that one, this one right here. It's a simple press the button and it'll slide out. After that's done, there's also one there. I do put the bolts back so I don't lose them, but there's a ground right here that's supposed to go on there. Yeah, so pretty much after that, transmission is about to come off. Just have to unbolt the one that has them on the engine and support. So I will go through that now. Before that though, I did use this contraption right here. So my other low jack and two bricks with a clock on top mounted right over the oil pan. Hopefully that's able to support the engine from tilting when I take out the transmission. So I'm gonna find out right now. Alright, so down here we're gonna be able to remove the cradle, which is a 15mm bolt. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This should come off. I'm pretty sure I don't need to have the transmission supported right now because it's still in transmission. I mean, it's still in the engine, so we should be good. And about that shifter thing that I was talking about, as you guys can see, I only have this. I don't have any of the stuff that usually comes here on a stock transmission. So that's a nice thing about doing this IRP shifter thing. It does rattle though. Still finding a fix for that. But yeah, we'll do that. And then finally those bolts, and hopefully we can get this transmission out with no problems. So a little fix there. This is actually, these two at least are 14mm bolts. You don't really have to take this out, which is 17mm, unless you're changing the bushings out of this, which I will be doing in the future. But other than that, take this off with a 14mm and this thing should come right out. So finally got this out. So I'm getting a little nervous here because this is somewhat of a gamble that regular jack will be able to support this, but onto low budget building, I'm gonna go ahead and try that, see how it goes. So in this case, I started with the, I guess, the right side of the car, just because the starter was there. Two of the bolts actually hold it in place, one behind here and one somewhere in there. Took out the other bolt there too. So once you take out those bolts, the starter should just come right out, like so. So an update on the transmission mounting point. I actually had a toolbox, a really sturdy toolbox that I decided to use. So far, hopefully it works out great. But yeah, that's what I'm currently using. So I'm gonna take out the rest of the bolts and see where it goes. Hopefully I can drop this transmission down with no problems. At this point, all of the bolts are out. I'm not too sure now what to do, so I'm gonna guess. It's time to wiggle this transmission back and forth. For the bottom ones, I use a deep socket to take it out. Same one for the other side, so I'm not gonna do this with the camera on. I'm probably just gonna, or maybe I can set the camera here. Right, so after a bit of finagling, finally got the transmission out. And I'm not sure if the throwout bearing is supposed to spin this freely, because this one's just like, ooh. Huh. Is that weird? Or is that normal? Because this other one I have, that came with the kit, doesn't spin that freely, so I'm not sure what to use either. Oh, this one is making weird sounds now, so definitely needs a replacement either way. So I'm gonna go ahead and check if the throwout bearing is supposed to spin this resistant to it at least. This one just is just like a fidget spinner. Okay. So this clutch fork too. I had my transmission switched out a while back, and it seems like that wasn't very smart. That was a bug. Seems like they changed the clutch fork too. So that's cool of them, but I'm gonna be replacing that with the Virus one anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that out and take a look at the condition that it's in. Okay, so since I do have the turbo kit on already, I don't have a person to hold on to the pulley to stop the thing from spinning. So there's a little notcher, I guess, that people use, and here as well, that you can put to stop this from moving. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and use that, see if it works on taking off those bolts. Right, so I got the bolts out of the pressure plate. I just stuck a wrench in there and hope for the best. So I'm actually kind of excited to see the condition of the clutch here. So I think I'm gonna have to put down the camera just because this thing is supposed to be heavy. So yeah, I'll show you guys what that stock clutch looks like after I get it out. Right, so got it out. Let me see if I can focus here. And you guys can see it was starting to go bad. You guys can see that there's a wear around this area, probably where it started to slip. Yeah, but not too bad compared to what I've seen actually. So, and look at that has a lot of burn marks on there, way worse than the one I got used. So, and rusty too. Good thing we're replacing that. Put more power to the ground. And you guys can see this is an XCD clutch, which is cool. They supply a lot of car manufacturers' clutch kits. So yeah, cool, nice. And anyone curious about the flywheel, it's right there. I'm gonna go ahead and take that off as well with these 14 millimeters. Really rusty, and again those burn marks. Now this one is supposed to be heavy as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and find out now. Alright, I'm gonna take that off and keep you guys updated. So I finally got that son of a flywheel off. And crap, whoa, was that hard? These nuts were torqued down real well. I kept on slipping, smashing my fingers, started bleeding probably. But it's always that one bolt, the last final one bolt. It's always that one single bolt that messes it up. Not messes it up, but it's the hardest one. So yeah, I got that final bolt. Flywheel came off. I gotta tell you guys, that thing is really heavy. And really heavy. So, yep, got it right here. Let's see how, oh man, this thing is heavy. Holy mothers, that is bad. So yeah, resurfacing that would be really good. Is that normal to have a indentation like that? Who knows? Maybe not. Holy crap. If it's not, then whew, I burned the crap out of this clutch then. But yeah, I'm gonna go clean up the other one and start putting that back on. Whew, because it's getting dark here and I'm closing near my work date. I want to check this out though real quick before I do that. Alright, see you guys in a bit. So I'm getting ready to put this back on, did clean it with brake cleaner, but I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can clean it again once it's on there. And one important note is this disc here is oriented. You guys need to orient it properly when putting it back. There's a pin right here that needs to go on that pin right there, which makes sure that the I think this is the RPM sensor, so make sure that's in there the right way, or you're gonna have some trouble. And facing I guess this way, don't put it upside down or anything like that. Other than that, we can put the flywheel on. I'm gonna bolt it up, add some blue Loctite on there, and bolt them one by one, then torque them to spec. So I got the flywheel mounted up on there, semi tight. I'm gonna go ahead and take the torque wrench and start tightening them up. So as of now, as you guys can see, I guess the stock bolts do hold. The only problem is since I had trouble getting them off, the bolts themselves got a little deformed. Hopefully it can still stick. Please stick. But if you guys are doing this, I recommend getting either new bolts or the ACT bolts that ACT does provide. Other than that, hopefully I'll be able to torque these down to 63 foot-pounds, and I'll get the alignment tool, put that on there along with the clutch face. Alright, so finally got that torqued down, flywheel. Another good note is I actually used this on the little slot that I showed you guys to stop the flywheel from moving, and that worked out great. I was trying to use the wrench, but I was having trouble taking it out. So the edge, well actually this little head right here, nudge in there is actually a perfect solution, because you could take it out as easily as I put it. So the next step would be to grease up the spline of this clutch with my high temp bearing grease that I'm going to be using, because I don't have the supplied grease that ACT has, along with the clutch alignment tool. So that goes in there onto the flywheel, and then the clutch plate goes on top of it to align the clutch. Alright, so I'm gonna do that. And also, before I do put it, I'm gonna go ahead and clean the flywheel off again with brake cleaner, just to remove the final dust or dirt or oils that got into there. Other than that, it's almost done. Got the clutch here, like so. It is gonna have some spinning room, so no worries on that. Just keep it like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and get the clutch. What is it called? Oh my god, clutch pressure plate, and then wipe that down with brake cleaner and torque it down to spec. It should be good to go. And again, just gonna do brake cleaner on the towel and wipe it down. Don't breathe that in. Oh, don't breathe that in. Oh. No, facing this way, by the way. But yeah, there are pins here to align it, so make sure that they do orientate it properly. So I'm getting ready to put this on. Just wipe it clean. So take off all the dust, the oils, make sure you don't touch it again. The paint job on this I had seen better days, but the performance that matter, not the looks, because you're never gonna see this clutch again unless I take it out. Something happens. Yeah, wipe that down. I'm gonna go ahead and try to put that on and bolt it up. Alright, so I got the pressure plate on. One trick to these is I was actually worried that the pins weren't flush, and again, that's not a problem. As you guys can see, there's 3 pins in the flywheel that you're supposed to match up here, here and here. So at first they will align, but they're not going to be flush, and you might be worried thinking, oh man, something's not going on right. But as you torque down the bolts, I just realized it is a pressure plate, so as you torque down the bolts, it moves in and they do become flush. So now, no worries there if you guys are thinking that you're not aligning it properly. It's just that you got to torque down the bolts so that it lines up, and actually it's more flush than I expected. But yeah, it's supposed to be like that. about the design. So now all I have to do is torque it down to the torque spec, which I believe is going to be 26 foot-pound of torque. I went ahead and removed the alignment tool. Looks pretty good to me, right in the center. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and torque these, and we'll fix up the transmission, and hopefully I can get this thing on in here soon. All right.